Seaford Court Preparatory School was demolished on Wednesday morning, the 10th of December 2008, by Interserve Project Services, building contractors. The site had been bought by the NHS in the early 1980s, but the buildings were sadly subjected to neglect, vandalism and fire, and eventually condemned as dangerous and required to be demolished. After receiving confirmation that the buildings were no longer home to any bats, Birmingham-based Interserve Project Services started the demolition work. There were celebrations, as this marked the commencement of the new, long-awaited Malvern NHS Community Hospital. Interserve Project Manager David Irons was delighted that the work was now commencing at long last. "This is a really good scheme, and as a company we're delighted to be involved with it," he said. "At the end of this, Malvern will have a superb new hospital facility. We're looking to use as many local subcontractors as we possibly can during this project." Mr. Irons said Interserve would be retaining and upgrading the existing stone wall around the site. "There are also a lot of tree preservation orders that we have to comply with, but we're used to that nowadays," he added. Malvern Hills District Council Chairman Sheila Young said, "I'm really excited. We've been looking at this since the 1970s. And now it's actually happening at last." Members of the hospital's League of Friends gathered at Seaford Court to watch the demolition. Lynn Inglis, matron at the old community hospital in Lansdowne Crescent, was delighted to see the work begin. "I've been involved in the hospital project since I started work at the hospital 3 years ago in 2005, and I am a Malvern person born and bred, so I've been aware of the town needing this hospital for a long time," she said. "My staff and all the patients I've talked to about it are really excited. It's a fantastic feeling now that we're actually here and seeing something happening. I remember Seaford Court being a beautiful building, so to see it come down is a bit sad. But I know that we'll be getting a fantastic new hospital." The site was completely levelled by Christmas 2008, and construction of the new hospital building began in March 2009. Seaford Court Preparatory School was founded in 1901 in Seaford, Sussex by Mr. A.C. Clarke. During the war, in 1940, the school was evacuated to Malvern Link. The school purchased Fern Lodge, a large house with a conservatory to the rear, once owned by Henry F.S. Morgan, founder of the Morgan Motor Company. A 3-storey extension was built to the house for the boys' ablutions and toilets. A new single-storey building was constructed with 6 classrooms and a gymnasium assembly hall and a link corridor to the main house. Science was taught in a separate science block nearby within the grounds. Some of the masters lived in Broom Lodge, next door to Seaford Court. The school continued successfully for 40 years, mainly under the leadership of headmaster Geoffrey Milton, who lived with his family in the main house. In 1980, the school merged with the Elms in Colwall. The old school site was then bought by the NHS in the 1980s, and the building stood vacant for many years. The buildings were subjected to neglect, vandalism and fire, and eventually condemned as dangerous and required to be demolished. The school was demolished in 2008 and replaced by the new Malvern NHS Community Hospital, which opened in 2011, standing proudly next to the fire station. Geoffrey Milton died at home on the 24th of July 2010, aged 84 years. May he rest in peace.